reading what KD has said and what Harden has said, which one of the two is not happy with Kyrie?
Well, I don't think either of them are. They told when they asked Durant about him being able to practice, he was like, "Well, that's like great, but like we want him here for the whole thing."
Yeah, that's true.
They're giving P. So this is where like I'm not taking a shot at Jay here. Jay's great. He's broken a lot of news and whatnot, but like when
You
he's
talking
like the
Jay
players
from
don't
BK?
care. Yeah, it's like players don't care. It's like, well, like I don't know exactly like what his connect is to the team to take that like wholeheartedly. And second, it's like just because they say something in an interview, like players don't necessarily give candid answers all the time. So what they're saying to the public and what's going on behind closed doors aren't necessarily the same thing. It's it makes less sense for them to come out in the media and be like, I think he's a fucking idiot. They're gonna keep that
Right, and
closed
knowing Kyrie, like if you everybody has a friend like Kyrie. I have a few friends like Kyrie, same type of uh, outside of actual science and logic, thinking as well. And the thing about it is, all of our friends knows that he's that dude. Like we know we know our friend that's our personal Kyries all are gonna do this exact thing. Do you think that's what KD's trying to angle at? Like, come on, we all know it's Kyrie, it's gonna be fine, but or is it, coming to a breaking point here based off of this Woj?
Who knows? Because before training camp, Marks gave an interview, and he was talking. He was confident that they'd get the extensions done. Then he was confident everybody would be vaccinated. Well, is it possible that this vaccination thing? Obviously, the Nets aren't going to give an extension until this is cleared up, right? Mm-hmm. And then this could also be affecting what Harden's thinking. Like, shit, if this guy's not going to stay here, I'm attaching myself to an older guy who's had some bad injuries. Do I want to stick here long term?
Yeah. Do I want to get stuck here?
Because he's like, hey, what if Kevin gets hurt again this year? Now we're fucking terrible. It's like it's really throwing a wrench in everything. And the Nets fan base has done everything right by Kyrie. We've defended him at every step of the way. We gave him a clean slate here. He had to take games off last year. No one cared.
He also He also barely played his first year here.
Right, and no one cared because it was a throwaway year.
He's played 43 games.
Right. No one cared about the first year. No one cared about him taking time off last year.
And that's important. That's an important thing to like. I don't think Nets fans say it to themselves, but you have to say the words. Kyrie disappeared for 2 weeks to throw his sister a roller skating party.
Right, and when we were at the game 1 versus the Celtics, they were chanting Kyrie Irving. No other player got that treatment. He had many, by the nature of his style of play, it vibes with the city here. People want to root for him and have gotten behind him, and I think
we love him.
Solidarity of being like, you know what, the Celtics fans hate him, and the Knicks fans hate him, and the general NBA fan hate him. But as you always say, he's a dickhead, but he's our dickhead.
Right.
And we've treated him as such. And if he does this, it's like, look, man, if that's really what he believes, like, go for it. But like, fuck you back, because you're telling my dad who's been watching this goddamn team for his whole life, fuck you. So fuck you too, then.
Like, I mean, what I think,
go fuck yourself.
Like, I mean, even and Matt, I texted you guys this, and I think what's so unbelievably disappointing about the entire thing is like it's the epitome of the situation where you give a person a ton of rope, you let them do whatever they want when they want, and then you ask for one thing, and the only thing the Nets are asking is for you to be available. Like, they clearly cater to every single other thing he wants. He has whether it's players, like, you think it's a coincidence that DeAndre Bembry, who's high school friends with him, is on the roster. Like, it's clear that there's all these different inner workings where there were security officials who were members of their teams that were part of the unit. Like, these 3 guys, Harden probably now as well, run the team, and by the way, completely as they should, because they're the reason why the Barclays Center gets filled up and why there's the biggest growth they're the biggest growing fan base in the entire city. But the only thing that we're asking this guy to do at this point is show up. And so I think to not show up is I just think it is disrespectful. And like, I'm all for player empowerment, but like, you hit a certain point where it's like,
you're wrong, Sam. You're saying we asked this guy to show up. We don't even ask him to show up. We're just saying, please just try to make it for the playoffs, because he not only has he been hurt more than he's been, on the court, he just disappears sometimes. No explanation.
Yep.
No reasoning, no apologies. Like that. That's.
I didn't even care about that, because
But that's the point I'm trying to make. We don't he did that, and we didn't care.
If he needs 5 games off in March to get his head right, like, so be it. That some people do need that, and I think we've all tried to give him that benefit of the doubt on those things. But this is a step further now. It's a step further where he's now saying, I'm going to disqualify myself from 43 regular season games before I have that a mental health day, before my ankle flares up, before I have a headache.
And it goes, but
not including the playoffs.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it goes, but it also goes beyond that, because it's not just the act, as he was saying, of not being there and already like having all the injuries and all the other drama that comes in it. But he's basically like gauging the situation. It's like, how much more rope can I pull that I legitimately have all the rope? And like, I don't even like, I honestly wonder like how much this even like means to him. And I know we've kind of talked about this already, and how much of it is like, just an act. Like I don't know. There's just something about the entire thing that feels so disingenuous. Oh, and this was my main point, is that like, he then pushes the boundaries, and then because he knows his fans are fucking psychotic and are not willing to ever admit that he did anything wrong, then because we are all on the other side just saying, dude, we just want you to play. Like, I actually think you're like the most fun person to watch at basketball since Michael Jordan. Your skill is, as KD says, is unmatched. Like, literally play. And then he makes us feel like the bad guy because we're going against freedom of like expression because we want him to get vaccinated. It's insane.
No, but it's not even that we want him. If not being vaccinated did something for him, or if he was really standing on some kind of morals that connected with some kind of way of thinking that existed before this, but this is just Kanye West of basketball bullshit. And we know it, and I think his teammates know it.
Yep.
And I think that the unfortunate thing about it is that if that is the case, and you stubborn, like, it's okay that he's done what he's done. I think all three of us have said the same thing. So I don't know why I'm reiterating, but I think it's an important point to start with when you're talking about this Kyrie situation. We're all okay with all the stuff. All the stuff is fine. Okay? Like, he put a tweet out in an Instagram post accusing Nike of not letting him see the new version of his sneakers and saying that he had nothing to do with it, basically going against his contract with Nike, the most powerful sneaker company in the world, that gave him $200 million. So if he's willing to do that, it's not crazy to question, is this dude the type of dude that would short circuit a championship level season for his pride, for the fact that he's taking on this identity of, I'm an anti-vaxxer, I'm making this stand, this is my Muhammad Ali, I'm not going to Vietnam moment, which is disrespectful to be thinking. And it's also not Colin Kaepernick either. And that's the thing that worries me, that he will ride this thing to the end, not because of logic, sense, or anything that he really believes. He'll ride this to the end just so that he could be the social justice warrior that he wants to present himself as.
You know, even his press conference he did on Media Day, which was, I mean, who okayed it being on his Instagram Live, right? I'm sure that wasn't the Nets' idea, obviously. So even that, they were probably like, you want to do it on Instagram Live? Fine, you can do it on Instagram Live. But he's not there. So everyone knows he's not there because he's not vaccinated. Everyone's going to find out if he gets vaccinated or not because the city he plays in has an ordinance requiring him to be. So when he plays this, please respect my privacy question, as if somebody's asking him if, like, his wife blew him that morning. It's like, dude, you're like, this isn't your privacy being invaded, these questions. This is part of your job. And I think that's the part of being an NBA player that Kyrie just can't wrap his head around, that, and he can't accept that his life is not going to always be the exact way he wants it to be.
Right. And like, I think we have enough talent, and I'm praying, man, even though tonight looks so bad.
But Harden gets hurt early, misses the first 38 games. It's like the team, you know, and then they flounder for half the year. You put too much on Durant, and it's like they just never get going. They never get their confidence going.
And then there's bad feelings in the locker room.
Right, and they're like, where the fuck is this fucking guy? Joe Harris is like, these fucking people hate me because I missed some three-pointers. You know what? I make way less than these guys, and I fucking show up every night. I play the back-to-back when the other stars get the shit. But
I'm the 6'3" small forward every night, getting pounded.
But that is a good point, though, which I agree with, which is that I think is something that goes unsaid about these types of incidents. It's that a lot of it isn't about the incident itself, but it's about the fact that it creates another thing that internally in the locker room, like, what if 3 of the guys really support what he's doing, but 8 of them don't, and 4 of the other ones don't give a shit? Like, it's just it's another thing that, like, it's constantly going to be there. Like, unless they tell him, like, unless you don't get vaccinated, like, you're not on the team, which would be a pretty bold move, and I actually would support it, but I just don't think the Nets have the balls to do it.
He's gonna play. He's gonna play. He's gonna play.
I agree.
But and I agree that, like, I would, in a way, I would applaud them for taking a stand themselves, but I don't think it's the best thing for the Nets' title hopes. So I'm not hoping that that's the route that they take.
Look,
I don't think that's the right thing.
Cy is not cheap, and Cy has fuck you money compared to all the other owners. So if Cy wanted to, he could make a stand.
No, they all have fuck you money. Cy has fuck you money.
But Cy cares enough about certain causes, and he's active in a lot of different circles that, like, if he wanted to, he could be like, Kyrie, like, honestly, I'll either, like, withhold pay and you can meet me in court, or I'll pay you. I don't.
Cy's not that guy. Cy's not that guy. He'll never do that.
He's gonna listen to Sean Marks and what he wants to do ultimately in the play.
No, like, the only look, gun to my head, I agree with you, but I do think there's something. Cy's comments about the vaccine that don't even have to do pre-Kyrie, all that stuff, like. I'm telling you, he doesn't he doesn't fuck around. This guy spends his days at Yale and in Silicon. Like, I don't think he's gonna fuck around with somebody who's like this anti-science and mathematics.
Let me ask you a question. If the city didn't have this ordinance in place and Kyrie didn't get vaccinated, he would let him play.
Yeah, because they'd test him. They would do all of that. But I think so. There's people who are saying that because there's a new mayor coming in, that the new mayor, who happens to be a friend, Eric Adams,
well, you
that
he's changed that ordinance.
But the thing is, I don't think he is, and I think it's more of a statement to the. It's not because Kyrie's gonna get anyone sick. It's because the message that it sends with Kyrie is going to continue to get people killed.
Small businesses that are being forced to follow this, if they're going to go ahead and let these rich NBA players do it, it's a tough message.